Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the 30th General Meeting of the Caribbean Academy of Sciences. This morning, we have an eminent group of persons to help us open this conference. My name is Craig Peru, and I will be the Master of Ceremonies. I'm a research fellow in the Mona School of Business and Management here at UWI. And I'm very happy to be participating in this ceremony because about 16 years ago, when the last general meeting, CAS meeting was held here in Jamaica, right here in the Mona Visitors Lodge, I was involved. And it's wonderful to see how our society has progressed since then. Your Excellency, Sir Kenneth Hall, our former Governor General, Minister Favour Williams, Principal and Pro-Vice Chancellor Professor Dale Weber, Professor Michael Taylor, Dean of the Faculty of Science and Technology, Dr. David McBean, Executive Director of the Mona School of Business and Management, Professor Winston Melos, our President of the Caribbean Academy of Sciences, Professor Tara Dasgupta, President of the Caribbean Academy of Sciences Jamaica Chapter, Professor the Most Honorable Denise Eldemira Shera, CDOJ, she will be representing the UWI Vice Chancellor, Professor Sarah Hilary Beckles, Ms. Catherine Grigsby, Director of the Unesco Cluster Office for the Caribbean, Mr. Marlon Morgan, representing Senator the Honorable Ruel Reid, our Minister of Education, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen all, good morning and thank you for being here. Good morning. Now, our conference's theme is Science, Technology, and Innovation, Vehicles for a Knowledge-Based Economy. And I believe what you will hear this morning will demonstrate that we can respond to our Vice Chancellor's call for us to be an activist university. Not merely for us to create knowledge and circulate it among other elite academics, but to work with the public sector and the private sector to lift the region and to lift our societies by activating this knowledge, integrating this knowledge to push the production frontiers outwards. My job as your Master of Ceremonies is to move us along quickly, and I believe you will see from the persons on the stage when they come to speak that they have lived our conference's theme for the 30 or 40 years that many of them have been involved in science, technology, and innovation. To bring greetings first, we will have Professor Emeritus Tara Dasgupta. He is the founding president of the Caribbean Academy of Sciences Jamaica Chapter and the past president of the Caribbean Academy of Sciences. He's a professor of inorganic chemistry with a focus on inorganic reaction mechanisms. And for his scholarly work, he has been elected Fellow of the Royal Society of Chemistry, Fellow of the International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry, and Fellow of the Caribbean Academy of Sciences. Now, all of this, I'm sure you will agree, is worth applauding, but there are two other aspects of Professor Dasgupta's life that mark him as an activist academic, even more so. First, Prof. Dasgupta, most of us refer to him as Prof. He has repeatedly sought to activate scientific knowledge in Jamaica by building within the university entrepreneurial institutions based on scientific knowledge. He dramatically upgraded and enlarged the Jamaica Equine Testing Laboratory, commonly referred to as the Jamaica Racing Commission Lab, and instigated the Mona Institute of Applied Sciences, the Mechanical Engineering Workshop, the Pesticide Research Lab, and most recently, the Net Zero Energy Building. These ventures all generated employment for university-educated and trained scientists and engineers, and in most cases increased the knowledge content of the goods and services that our region provides. In other words, Professor Dasgupta has helped to build Jamaica's and the Caribbean's knowledge economy. Please help me welcome to the stage to bring greetings our CAS Jamaica President, Professor Tara Dasgupta.
Chairman, Master of Ceremony, members of the head table, fellow scientists and members of the Caribbean Academy of Sciences, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure for me, on behalf of the Caribbean Academy of Sciences, Jamaica, to welcome you at the 21st General Meeting of the Caribbean Academy of Sciences. I'm extending special welcome to all our plenary lecturers, especially the lecturers who are coming from abroad. The Vice Chancellor of the University, Sir Hilary Beckel, sent an apology for not being able to attend this important meeting, but he asked Most Honorable Professor Dennis Eldermas Scherer to bring greetings on his behalf, but we are still waiting for her to come. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Professor John Hildenberg, Foreign Secretary of the National Academy of Sciences, USA, and Professor Richard Catlow, Foreign Secretary of the Royal Society of England, who are attending on behalf of their organizations and agreed to give plenary lectures. This will further strengthen the relationship between our academy and the world's two largest academy in this world. I would also like to recognize two persons whom I admire myself. One is Miss Fable Williams, Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Finance and Public Services, and other Sir Kenneth Hall, who has inspired me. He was a former principal and Governor General of Jamaica. Sir Kenneth Hall has been inspiring to us all, and he always motivate us to do more scientific work for the university and for the Caribbean. Thank you, both of you, for joining us in this event. This event is for celebrating 30th anniversary of the Caribbean Academy of Sciences and 70th anniversary of the University of the West Indies. I should also mention that Caribbean Academy of Sciences Jamaica chapter is also celebrating 16 years of its existence. Since its inception, the Caribbean Academy of Sciences has been trying to instill science culture in their Caribbean societies. Excuse me. In recent years, the Caribbean Academy of Science Jamaica, being a legal charitable organization of Jamaica, has been trying to convince government through workshop and public forum that the dynamism for national development can only be generated by an integrated scientific and technological community. The rapid growth of economy is only possible by creating successful knowledge economy, which is characterized by the development of application of science and technology, and greater importance placed on innovation for economic growth. Against this background, the Caribbean Academy of Sciences, Jamaica, is holding this 4-day international conference on science, technology, and innovation. The theme of the conference, as Master of Ceremony mentioned, Science, Technology, and Innovation Vehicles for Knowledge-Based Economy. Knowledge-based economy is a buzzword now internationally, and every countries are dealing with it. In fact, the Scandinavian countries are at the top of the list. And Singapore is also one of the top 10. This conference is going to be stellar in the sense that 10 distinguished academicians from different parts of the world are delivering plenary lectures on diversified fields. 120 papers, both educational and professional organizations, will be presented. The conference also attracted academicians and professionals from tertiary institutions, public and private sectors of Jamaica, as well as the wider Caribbean region. The goal of the conference is to encourage a dialogue between the industrial sector and academics as well as convince the government that the knowledge-based economy is the only solution to uplift our nation. I would like to draw your attention to some special features which we introduced in our program. A public lecture on climate change, which will be organized by well-known scientist, climatologist, Professor Michael Taylor, whom a lot of people know here. And Michael Taylor is recently been awarded Fellow of the Caribbean Academy of Sciences. And also, the event, there will be Douglas McMartin, who is our plenary lecturer. He will be a guest lecturer of this public forum. And it will be held in the Blue Room of the conference center. And another one is a popular lecture by Professor Richard Catlow, intended specifically for high school students, sixth grader students. And that is going to be very interesting. Our academy has been concerned about the gender disparity in science for quite some time and has voiced our opinion in various international forums and workshops. At this event, now we are organizing a forum entitled Cracking the Code to Gender Disparities in Creating Knowledge-Based Economy, increasing participation in STEM as a part of this conference. The guest speakers in these forums are from Cuba, Guyana, Dominican Republic, Montevideo, Uruguay, Jamaica, and United States. This special forum has been sponsored by Unesco, and we are very grateful for their contributions, and I'm glad that we have Director of UNESCO Cluster Office for the Caribbean, Mrs. Catherine Grigsby, has kindly going to bring greetings on behalf of UNESCO. We are also honoring Dr. Joyce Pence, who is the first female master blender in the world for her innovation in science in a banquet. This scientific program has been carefully prepared so that all attendees have the opportunity to attend a wide variety of plenary lectures, oral and poster presentations, and forums. We are looking forward to the opportunity this event will bring to meet and exchange ideas with our peers to promote science and technology, which will bring us together to build knowledge-based society. This is the only way we can reach sustainable economic growth in our country. I, on behalf of the Caribbean Academy of Sciences, Jamaica, wish to express our gratitude to our various sponsors, platinum, gold, silver, and bronze categories. All the sponsors are here attending the conference. Without their financial contributions, it would have been difficult to achieve this mammoth task. You will all recognize their contribution from the logos displayed in all our publications. I would also like to extend special thanks to both former Principal Professor Archibald MacDonald and current Principal Professor Dale Weber of the University of West Indies for financial support to celebrate 70th anniversary of the university. I, on behalf of CASJ, would like to express my appreciation to the organizing committee of the conference, especially the chairperson, Dr. Noblette McKnight, who is around and you probably have seen her, who tirelessly worked with her team to organize this conference. I also wish that every participant, either from Jamaica or abroad, enjoy 4 days of intense scientific activities, and I also hope that you will be able to take some time off to see our beautiful island. Thank you. Enjoy the conference.
Next, we have to bring us greetings on behalf of the Caribbean Academy of Sciences. We have Professor Emeritus Winston Melos. Professor Melos was born in Barbados and grew up there, but made his way to the UWI campus in Trinidad and Tobago to join the second batch of graduates to study and receive engineering degrees there. In 1971, he became a member of the faculty at St. Augustine, rising to the rank of Professor of Chemical Engineering. As an academic, his research has focused on the sugar industry, its byproducts, waste products, and their environmental impact. But he has not been content to let that knowledge remain cloistered in the pages of peer-reviewed journals for a few erudite scholars to read. He improved the treatment of wastes from the sugar refineries of Caroni and promoted the use of modern technologies in the sugar industry regionally. Further, he developed an efficient process for producing xanthan gum from sugarcane byproducts and applied to the US Patent and Trademark Office for patent for that process and was granted it. Professor Melos has also served as president of the Association of Professional Engineers of Trinidad and Tobago, and of course, is our very own president of the Caribbean Academy of Sciences. Please help me welcome to the stage Professor Melos.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
I hate to use this term, all protocols observed, but nevertheless, I'll use it for this present morning. I'll also profess to welcome those at the head table and those who have come as our special guests. Professor Das Gupta dealt with the Jamaica chapter, and I will therefore talk a bit on who we are, what is our brand as the Caribbean Academy of Sciences, because a lot of times you don't spend marketing the Caribbean Academy of Sciences, and maybe some people don't even know who we are, where we started, and what it is that we are all about. So I'll try to fill you in at this present moment and the time allotted to me. And by starting saying the establishment of a Caribbean Academy of Sciences was informally proposed at the General Assembly of the International Council of Scientific Unions, that's ICSU, in Bern, Switzerland in September 1986. Because of the relatively small size of the region and the need for scientists for the Academy to be an effective regional force for science, it was necessary to embrace all the sciences, including social sciences. The inauguration of CAS took place at an international seminar on science, development, and society at the Central Bank Auditorium in Port of Spain, Trinidad, on the 16th and 17th of May 1988. CAS is incorporated in Trinidad and Tobago. It's also incorporated in Jamaica as the Jamaica chapter. I'll use the word we now. We see ourselves as facilitating cooperation in scientific and technological research with special reference to the Caribbean region, special reference to indigenous technologies, etc. And recognizing outstanding performance or achievements in science and technology, so we have prizes for this. Undertaking or facilitating the publication and collation of the results of scientific research. Creating public awareness of science and technology. Promoting scientific inquiry and the development of human capital, and exchanging knowledge and ideas for the good of society. And we like to think of improving the quality of life in our Caribbean region. The current membership of CAS is around 200 members, including members from different chapters in the English-speaking Caribbean, such as Trinidad and Tobago. We have Jamaica. We also have Guyana, as well as Guadeloupe, Cuba, Suriname, and my home country, Barbados, as well. The Caribbean Academy of Sciences, therefore, having had its inaugural meeting, is therefore 30 years old, and during the period of its existence can be very proud of its achievements. And over these many years, CAS has been instrumental in bringing distinguished speakers to the region, including Nobel Prize laureates. We can't afford it anymore. But so we have now moved to persons who are just as distinguished, but not yet Nobel Prize laureates. Therefore, I welcome all our invited speakers to this conference and thank them for making the effort with us today. I see John Hildebrand in the audience. I met him at Yanis meetings and we established a good friendship at that meeting. We also have Professor Catlow, Professor Kamaldin Abdul Rashid. We also have other professors who we invited to share their knowledge with us. We've also been involved at different times with panel discussions involving public discussion of relevance to our region. We've also been responsible for this biennial technical conference, in which the scientists in the region have presented their research and other studies to members of different disciplines. Students have not been left out in that they too have been delivered papers on aspects of their research. One of Melos' strengths, therefore, is the multidisciplinary nature of CS, covering as it does scientists from natural, agricultural, medical, social sciences, and engineering. Chapters, as I just mentioned, have been formed in Jamaica, Antigua, Barbados, Guyana, Guadeloupe, Trinidad and Tobago. And this Jamaica chapter has been one of the most active chapters. If you look at the program, you don't see engineering, you see all the medical science, etc. on the front page. So they have to ask the question, why engineers in a science society? We're here because we use science. The engineer must identify, understand the constraints, do successful designs. I can talk because I'm an engineer, incidentally. Constraints include available resources, physical and technical limitations, flexibility for future modifications and additions, and other factors such as requirements of cost, manufacturability, serviceability, marketing, aesthetic, social, and ethnic considerations. And by understanding the constraints, the engineers deduce specifications for the limits within which an object or system can be produced and operated. And we are therefore at home in this particular conference on innovation. I can say, therefore, that the Caribbean Academy of Sciences is in the business of promoting innovation where we can recognize and exploit new, indigenous, unique ideas that can be applied to improve products, services, or processes. We examine creative and unique application of knowledge to effectively meet the needs of our region and to solve problems in our region. CAS, in recognizing this, has been associated with different institutions in the region. In the Prime Minister's Award competition in Trinidad and Tobago, for instance, which recognizes innovation. We've also helped produce booklets on Caribbean icons in science. Our social scientists belong to us as well. They help our countries to ensure that economic, social, and physical development takes place in such a manner as to foster sustainability of the development process and avoid foreclosure of fundamental options for the future, and they help us to emphasize the maintenance of a quality of life. CAS is also a member of different regional and international bodies which address international scientific issues, and CAS also coordinates the work of IANS, that is the Inter-American Network of Academy of Sciences. We became a foundation member of that in 2004. We became a member of the Caribbean Scientific Union in 2006. We've also, over the years, been paying special attention to the teaching of mathematics at elementary school, as well as the principles that need to be communicated clearly and effectively so that students can understand and apply the ideas involved. We've also moved on to helping teachers of the secondary school level as well. It is believed that understanding of important ideas, misunderstanding of important ideas, jeopardizes the learning process and can lead to a downward spiral. Weak areas must be identified and attention given to connection with the real-world applications and examples. That is why we've been organizing these courses for primary and secondary school teachers from the Caribbean region. We actually had 4 such courses in Jamaica. We're now assessing the effectiveness of this program that we've had in ISB, that is Inquiry-Based Science Education and STEM, in Jamaica. On the national front, we have established very strong linkages, therefore, with TWAS, with IANAS, I mentioned just now, and we have collaborated in a program, Women in Science, and a booklet has been produced on this subject. We've collaborated on the water program. We contributed a booklet in assisting those in the Caribbean region with the things that are happening in our region. We also have someone also from Jamaica who's on the climate change workshop and looking at sustainable development as well. Then we have the IANAS Science Program. We've also contributed to a booklet on science and education program. We also have maintained access to literature in the Gala website that they have produced, and also kept in contact with Le Mans EFAT. We also sent persons to go to France to expand their knowledge as far as this whole question of training of our students in science and technology. And we've also participated in regional studies on energy and food security. We've therefore been, as I said, then essential for the last 12 years working on the IBSE and the SCAM now. They've added arts to the STEM as well. We have active membership, therefore, in all these programs. And the role of Academy, therefore, has been to produce and promote strong advocacy in important scientific and technological endeavors. However, we need to play a much more leadership role in promoting global cooperation to encourage meaningful exchange of ideas and research options. We've taken part in IIP bodies. Recently, we took part in the Scientific Advisory Committee of the Commonwealth during the meeting. And our members also some of our members are members of TWAS, including the latest, Professor Kit Phai Pun. We believe that the future lies in expanding our membership and in more collaboration with industry and governments, but for this, funding is very crucial, and unfortunately, the major funding that we get now are just the membership dues, and we can't continue to live like that forever. And therefore, all you entrepreneurs who have, a little bit successful ones, we're looking forward to your support of us. To that end, we've also, part of our academy, introduced a section for corporate membership. We look forward, therefore, to a successful conference and general meeting. I take this opportunity to thank the Jamaica chapter, led by Professor Tara Gupta, Professor Robert Lancashire, and all those persons who serve on the organizing committee. They did a tremendous job in getting this off the ground. Initially, they said that Jamaica couldn't manage, but in collaboration then with the University of West Indies' 70th anniversary celebration, and I remember being chair of the 60th anniversary celebration of the Trinidad campus, and 70 seemed to come very, very quickly. But nevertheless, I pay tribute, therefore, to the Mona campus for its sponsorship of this event and all our other gold, silver, etc. sponsors, which we hear a lot about. And we look forward, therefore, for the results of this conference, in that the region, therefore, will benefit from all that we said here and all that has been contributed to us in this conference. I thank you.
At this point, we'd expected to have Professor, the Most Honorable Denise Eldemar Sher with us, but unfortunately she is ill. But fortunately, Professor Dale Weber is very well equipped to bring greetings on both the campus's behalf and the university's behalf. Most of us know Professor Dale Weber, but for those of us who don't, let me say he was appointed to the position of Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of the Mona campus here at the University of the West Indies with effect from August of this year, vacating the post of Pro-Vice Chancellor for Graduate Studies and Research, which he'd occupied since 2015. He's had a distinguished career in coastal ecology and environmental management, and a model record of teaching, graduate supervision, administration, and research excellence, which spans 30 years of service with the university. Professor Weber is the consummate activist academic. Not only has he supervised 27 MPhil and 15 PhD students to completion, probably more than that by now, produced 7 book chapters and 35 peer-reviewed publications, attracted $2.5 million in research grants, but he's led the transformation of the Environmental Foundation of Jamaica, which is our largest environmental donor organization. So Professor Melos might want to check in for some funding. He's chaired the Jamaica's Climate Change Advisory Board, chaired the CL Environmental Company Board, and that's not all. Together with his amazing wife, UE marine ecologist Professor Mona Weber, he has parented Marissa and Diana, who are pursuing university degrees in environmental engineering and oceanography. Help us welcome Professor Dale Weber.
Good morning, Mr. Peru, and thank you for that introduction. I will tell my daughters that you have put them on the front page, but they'll ask you if it's on WhatsApp and if it's on Twitter. And so, Kenneth Hall, Honorable Minister Fable Williams, here in your capacity both from the Ministry of Finance as well as MP for our constituency, Dr. Michael Taylor, our Dean, Mr. David McBean, the Director of the Mona School of Business Management, Professor Emeritus Tara Dasgupta, President of the Caribbean Academy of Sciences, Professor Emeritus Winston Melos, President of the Caribbean Academy of Sciences, Ms. Catherine Grigsby, Director UNESCO Cluster, Mr. Marlon Morgan, representing Minister Royal Reid, distinguished guests in the audience, and I see way too many to call names, but I see Dr. Sweeney, I see PVC Ronnie Young, I see colleagues from Sterling Assets. Good morning to you all, ladies and gentlemen. The privilege is mine this morning to welcome you to the University of the West Indies, both on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, who is in London right now, as well as in my own capacity as principal of the Mona campus. It is our pleasure to collaborate with the Caribbean Academy of Sciences and the Caribbean Academy of Sciences Jamaica in hosting this 21st annual meeting here at the Visitors Lodge and Conference Center. As the university goes through its 70th year, 70 years of service, 70 years of excellence, we're at the vanguard of educational excellence, and we extend heartfelt congratulations to our partners at CAS and CAS-J as they commemorate their anniversaries and move forward. With research and innovation being the centerpiece of the UWI's transformational agenda, the theme selected by CAS this year is very befitting: science, technology, and innovation, vehicles for a knowledge-based economy. This collaboration amongst CAS, CAS-J, and the UWI yields an investment in science, technology, and innovation fostered by our robust research development portfolio. It is essential as a precursor to the knowledge-based economy. Science and technology, as well as innovation, has now formed a part of the university's strategic plan. As you may know, our strategic plan is based on access, alignment, and agility. Within access, AC4, which is to increase the quality, quantity, and impact of research, innovation, and publication, feeds directly into this goal. We therefore are trying to, within the University of the West Indies, increase all that we do, not just in quality and quantity, but impact, since that which creates impact may not yet be published, but be impactful in a decision-making process for a country. That also aligns itself very well with our AL2 alignment of academia and industry. And I'm very pleased to see the partners that I have seen on the banners, which demonstrates that the alignment between academic and industry is strong within the Caribbean Academy of Sciences and CAS-J. This conference will facilitate a forum for the cross-pollination among different research fields. We will elucidate and discuss innovative theories, frameworks, methodologies, tools, and applications which may be of use in enhancing the quality of human life and contribute effectively to sustainable economic development. So today, as you partake over the next couple of days, in what we are sure is going to be a thought-provoking and inspirational presentation, it is our hope that you will take this knowledge into your public and private setting, into your institutions, your agencies, your ministries, so that the dialogue may continue. And with the University of the West Indies being at the lead, we would like to offer ourselves to be that research engine for entities who would like research and development done. The substance of the policies which will come from our research continue to emulate, and I invite you to our next research days, which will be in February, where you can see the research from this faculty, science and technology, on display as it relates to policies. Last year we did medical sciences, this year we're doing science and technology. To all our colleagues at CAS and CAS-J, I say welcome, especially those who are visiting for the first time, and look forward to a partnership which we think is essential and critical to the nexus in our regional economic venture and development. I welcome you all and look forward to a productive 4 days.
Our next speaker, Ms. Catherine Grigsby, is Director of the UNESCO Cluster Office for the Caribbean. And we're very happy that she was able to make it this morning, because I know she's been traveling a lot and she just got back to the island yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Catherine Grigsby.
Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. distinguished members of the head table, distinguished scientists, academics, and professionals from tertiary institutions, public and private sectors of Jamaica and the Caribbean region. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I have the great honor to address the 21st Biennial Conference and General Meeting for the Caribbean Academy of Science, which also marks the celebration of 30 years of the Caribbean Academy of Sciences and 70 years of the University of the West Indies, a highly prestigious and internationally recognized academic institution serving the Caribbean region in tertiary education and research. It is indeed a fortunate coincidence that this conference is taking place just when the global scientific community celebrated the World Science Day for Peace and Development on November 10th, whose theme this year was Science, a Human Right, as a reaffirmation of the essential right of universal access to science in the framework of the 70th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Established by UNESCO in 2001, the World Science Day for Peace and Development highlights the role of science in society and the need to engage the wider public on emerging issues relevant to science. As the Director General of UNESCO, Madame Audrey Azoulay, indicated, the astonishing progress made by science in recent decades has changed our lives. Science and its countless applications now condition all aspects of human life. The resulting innovations are an opportunity for the development of our sciences. They are improving our well-being, facilitating daily life, and pushing back borders that seem immutable in the fields of medicine, transportation, communication, and knowledge sharing. They are an engine of growth and wealth. UNESCO recognizes that sciences, technology, and innovation, STI, provide key answers to build peace and foster sustainable development, and therefore we need more integrated science to strengthen water management, to ensure the sustainable use of the ocean, to protect ecosystems and biodiversity, to tackle climate change and disasters, and to foster innovation. This is why sciences, technology, and innovation, STI, stands at the heart of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the Paris Agreement on Climate Change. In this spirit, UNESCO has developed a unique approach to promote global scientific cooperation between and within societies, combining global sustainability and local actions and knowledge with focus on gender equality. As mentioned in the recommendations on science and scientific research published in 2017 by UNESCO, public policies should foster greater inclusion of groups of persons currently in the minority in the scientific community. Women in particular are underrepresented in the STEM fields and account for only 30% of researchers in the world today. Girls and women underrepresentation in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics STEM are deep-rooted and hold back progress towards sustainable development. In this spirit, UNESCO launched in Bangkok, Thailand in August 2017 a groundbreaking report, Cracking the Code, Girls and Women's Education in Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics STEM, precisely to challenge the gender inequalities in these fields. In this respect, UNESCO is pleased to support the forum designed by the Caribbean Academy of Science Jamaica chapter on cracking the code to gender disparities in creating knowledge-based economy, increasing female participation in STEM, in which the reality of gender parity in STEM with special reference to the Caribbean will be examined. On the other hand, today, as the complexity of the world's issues goes beyond the framework of a single discipline, UNESCO has made transdisciplinarity the cornerstone of its work for sustainability, building networks with multiple stakeholders, and promoting South-South and North-South-South cooperation to foster sciences, technology, and innovation (STI) for sustainable development and to encourage mutual understanding and peace. Consistent with the above, from the 22nd to the 24th of October 2018, UNESCO held in Panama the Open Science Forum for Latin America and the Caribbean, organized every 2 years as a key regional space for debates and exchanges that connects future researchers with renowned scientists, young entrepreneurs with business and corporate leaders, visionaries and innovators with political decision makers, artists, designers, inventors, and engineers, scientific journalists, and centers for scientific research, all summoned by the enormous challenges of our time. It is with great satisfaction that I bring to your attention the important participation of the Caribbean Academy of Sciences in this open forum and its valuable contribution, which ensures a highly quality debate and outcomes. This is an excellent illustration of the strength that partnership provides for the achievement of our common goal in realizing the full potential of sciences for sustainable development and peace. The Caribbean Academy of Sciences and UNESCO are bound together inseparably by the common goal of a greater expansion of science and for ensuring tighter linkages between science and society. I am proud to say, without fear of contradiction, that we share the conviction that science is our best asset for supporting inclusive and equitable development and for building an environmentally sustainable world. As indicated in the goals of this conference, over the next few days, the Caribbean Academy of Sciences and the University of the West Indies will engage distinguished scientists from across the world, academics and professionals from tertiary institutions, as well as the public and private sectors of Jamaica and the Caribbean, in an intense dialogue about important challenges in the region, and will elucidate also how science, technology, and innovation can be used to help us build a knowledge-based economy. I, on behalf of UNESCO, wish to express my appreciation and to congratulate the Caribbean Academy of Sciences and the Caribbean Academy of Sciences Jamaica chapter, as well as the University of the West Indies, for their tireless efforts and remarkable work in organizing this event. My sincere thankfulness for giving UNESCO this opportunity to take part in this valuable event. I wish you all every success and a highly fruitful event. Thank you.
I'd like to recognize Dr. Arnaldo Ventura, who many of us know has served as a senior scientist in our community here in Jamaica for many years. Thank you for being here, sir. Next, to bring us greetings on behalf of our Minister of Education, Youth and Information, Senator the Honorable Ruel Reid, we have Mr. Marlon Morgan. He's a communication specialist, currently engaged as Senior Technical Coordinator in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. As a member of the Minister's Executive Management Team, he's actively involved in the policy work on higher education reform, ICT in education, the K-13 strategy, the reform of nutrition in schools, and the primary exit profile, PEP. But he will not be taking questions on PEP this morning. He's a council member of the Caribbean Examinations Council and a board director of the Agro Investment Corporation, as well as the Spectrum Management Authority. He is also a former deputy spokesman on agriculture and vice president of the Jamaica Labour Party's Young Professional Affiliate, Generation 2000, G2K. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Marlon Morgan.
Let me thank Mr. Peru for his warm introduction. We acknowledge members of the head table, distinguished members of the head table, as well as distinguished members of the audience. I most especially recognized our host member of parliament, indeed, Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, the Honorable Favour Williams, the Executive Director, the Mona School of Business and Management, Mr. David McBean. I'd like to salute the partners for this initiative as well. I'm sure there are a host of them, but I'm recognizing Mr. Charles Ross of Sterling Asset Management, and academicians generally recognize that His Excellency Professor Hall has left or has stepped out of the room, but I salute him nonetheless, him having been here with us earlier. I don't know, Prof. Weber, if it is unprecedented. Research may well have to be done on that, but I know it is indeed fortuitous that the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies has had 3 persons from the STEM areas serving as principal. Yes? So at present, the incumbent Professor Dale Weber is from Sciences, and his immediate predecessor, Professor Archibald MacDonald, a man from the medical sciences in terms of background, and of course, Professor Gordon Shirley, who has now gone on. He is engaged at the Port Authority of Jamaica. And so it may well be unprecedented, Prof. Weber, but at a minimum, I believe it is fortuitous, and I believe it is reflective of the university's own profound statement, because there may well be those who do not necessarily see persons from STEM as being adept at administration or administrative work. And as a ministry, we are very much buoyed and encouraged by what that means for the university. Having leadership, yes, at the very top, in support of Vice Chancellor and other members of the team, but leadership who have a penchant and a knack for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I greet you, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, and Senator, the Honorable Royal Reid in particular. The Honorable Minister had planned to be here, but was asked to represent the Most Honorable Prime Minister at another event. And as such, he has had to adjust his schedule, and alas, I'm standing in his stead. I take the opportunity, nevertheless, to extend heartiest congratulations to the Caribbean Academy of Sciences through all its regional chapters for hosting this particular conference and for your theme, highlighting the importance, the critical importance of science, technology, and innovation to the creation of a knowledge-based economy. I'm going to veer from my script for just a couple of minutes to, in my own words, frame the remarks this morning, and if I may, locate the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information in this particular discourse, and indeed in what I would want to consider this particular movement, this awakening of sorts in respect of science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and the work that the Caribbean Academy of Science focuses such considerable attention. I recognize that we have among us many visiting friends. But just to apprise you, there's a particular buzz around Jamaica right now, not dissimilar to the kind of buzz we would typically have around the Olympics, and certainly when West Indies teams of old, not so much at present, But when West Indies teams of old would have taken to the field, I'm speaking of the more formidable years, of the years of prowess in the 70s and the 90s, the 80s rather, into the early 90s. But nevertheless, there's a buzz around Jamaica because one from among us, Dalton Harris, is taking the United Kingdom by storm. And some would extend it to say, indeed, taking the world by storm in respect of a talent competition over there in the UK, the X Factor. And I make that observation to begin with to underscore the point that as a people, we here in Jamaica, and indeed as Caribbean people, so regionally, we have always exhibited considerable talent, considerable competitive spirit. We see it with those who have blazed the trail in terms of the academy, research, Caribbean thought. Franz Fanon readily comes to mind, Maurice Smith, Walter Rodney, a host of others. We blaze a trail in respect of the business community. We blaze a trail in terms of culture and cultural expression. The late Honorable Louise Bennett Coverley readily comes to mind. And so, when you think of Bob Marley and others in the creative industries, in entertainment and in sports, a la Dr. the Honorable Usain Bolt, Jamaica, and by extension, Caribbean people have always presented themselves and made their mark in respect of being world leaders and on many occasions, world beaters. And notwithstanding the considerable and appreciable work that our scientists or researchers or innovators in their own right and in their own way have had over the years, the truth is our profile as a nation, and indeed our profile as a region, can be lifted that much more. And I'm locating the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information in the discussion at this particular juncture and framing the conversation in this way because the vision must be to be world leaders and world beaters even in respect of STEM. And I'm sure I can say with confidence that the work of the Caribbean Academy of Science, indeed the work of all your partners, CASJ, University of the West Indies, and other institutions of higher learning are serving to make that a reality. And for us as a ministry, these are exciting times because there is focused attention from a structured intervention perspective and from a practical catalytic perspective to set the stage even more for the mainstreaming of STEM, or an even greater mainstreaming of STEM, and to have our young people exhibit what it will require to be world leaders and world beaters, particularly in respect of science and technology. We really have to embrace the moment for the promotion of outside the box thinking, innovation, and of course, critical thinking. And so much of what we are doing at the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, so much of what we're about is precisely up this particular alley. Because largely, we have had an education system bequeathed to us that has been shaped by our experience as colonized peoples. Yes? And what that has meant is that we have not sufficiently paused at different points in time to take stock of how it is that our system is functioning and interrogate much more closely whether our system is as fit for purpose and as relevant as it ought to be. And I dare say we are much farther advanced now as a ministry and as a nation generally, because beginning with education transformation and the work of that task force back in 2004, there has been a greater buzz in respect of doing this kind of critical intervention and critical interrogation of which I speak. We should be questioning, and we are indeed doing so, and we want to be doing that even much more, whether we have been producing young people, yes, to make their mark in the way we really ought to. If it is that we are to compete effectively, as Professor Das Gupta would have pointed out, with some of those jurisdictions that are blazing a trail in respect of STEM. I speak of the Scandinavian countries, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Finland, you name them. And of course, Singapore, a country from which Jamaica draws so much inspiration. So the key takeaway is that in as much as a Dalton Harris is blazing a trail, in as much as a Usain Bolt would have blazed the trail, Otto Bolton from Trinidad and Tobago, yes? And our people just generally across the region would have made their mark in various disciplines, academics, business and commerce, creative expression, the entertainment industry, Caribbean thought. We would want to see no less in respect of a cadre of scientists, innovators, people who go on to own patents and own the innovation, as it were, behind the technology. We can't just be mere consumers of the technology, but we should be doing more and challenging ourselves to do more to become the owners of technology and indeed the patent and the rights, yes, intellectual rights behind that. It has become a bit of a cliche to state that science and technology are key drivers of economic growth in the 21st century. Many researchers have pointed to the Industrial Revolution of the 19th century and the scientific revolution of the 20th century as setting the conditions that have given rise to today's global knowledge-based creative economy. Nowhere is the impact of science and technology on our lives more obvious than in the rapid innovations in communications and computing technologies, leading to more countries being able to participate more fully in the global economy. Today, new technologies are transforming and expanding many economies in the same way that earlier industrial and technological advances changed the course of history. Indeed, a growing percentage of wealth in the world's largest economies is created by knowledge-based industries that rely heavily on human capital and technological innovation. So for those of us who think largely in terms of the bottom line and we think of the dollars and cents of it, we can readily see, yes, the degree to which science and technology generally solves problems in terms of contemporary society and go on to create wealth, add value to an economy. We are, of course, challenged by the question, what exactly is this knowledge-based economy? The World Bank and the OECD have defined it as an economy where knowledge is created, acquired, transmitted, and used effectively and creatively by organizations, enterprises, individuals, and communities to develop groundbreaking ideas and models. One example, often cited, of an economy that was rapidly transformed by an embrace of science and technology is that of South Korea. Its rapid progress in the knowledge and information revolution was attributed, to a large extent, to its widespread internet usage. The government recognized very early the need for the country to get connected to the web, and in the late 1990s invested heavily in broadband infrastructure. Privatization and deregulation in the telecom sector also led to South Korea being amongst the most wired nations in the world, with over 80% of households hooked up to broadband. Another Asian city that has done well in the knowledge revolution is Bangalore, which has been dubbed India's own Silicon Valley. And this is in part, or this is largely due to its rapid transformation into an IT hub since the 1990s. Bangalore has increasingly become the city of choice for research and development investments by US corporate giants such as General Electric, Microsoft, and IBM. Well, what of us here in the Caribbean? If we are to see any significant movement in our economic development as knowledge-based economies, a number of things will have to be addressed, including economic and institutional infrastructure, information infrastructure, and education. The government of Jamaica has recognized this and has committed to investing more in STEM education. In fact, the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics STEM programs in schools remain one of high priority for the Ministry of Education, Youth, and Information. Just by way of background, the STEM initiative was started in a formal and concerted way within the ministry in May 2014 and has continued under the current administration. The ministry established a STEM steering committee to provide oversight to the work of the STEM team, as well as the STEM technical committee that is driving the research and training component of the initiative. Under the new administration, the following have been done. Steering committee meeting would have been held in September 2016. New members invited to join the STEM committee. Just over $200 million have been budgeted to fund STEM and some non-STEM schools for the procurement of STEM-related equipment and material. The following tasks have been undertaken and are either complete or near completion. The first being a STEM concept paper has been completed and ratified by the STEM steering committee. And that, of course, sets out the thrust, the undergirding thrust of what it is that the ministry is embarked on. Secondly, work on a list of criteria for certification of STEM institutions for the academic year started in 2016 and is now about 90% complete. Thirdly, the Sydney Pagan Agricultural School, and in terms of the geography and locale, that's down in St. Elizabeth, northeast St. Elizabeth to be precise. So the Sydney Pagan Agricultural School has been transformed into a STEM academy. This was initiated in September 2014 with some 100 students at grade 7 and approximately $20 million having been spent on infrastructure to include upgrading of classrooms and laboratories. Equipment and material for the science program are being provided to enhance the project-based learning in accordance with STEM methodology. Recruitment of additional staff has been done, and extensive training of the academic and other staff members done to build their capacity. So upskilling would be an important part of this entire initiative. Construction is currently being planned for additional space, and training is being planned to commence here in the month of September. In the month of November. My apologies. In terms of the fourth achievement, 8 institutions are being transformed into STEM academies as directed below. First, the St. Andrew Technical High School, and they are being oriented in respect of logistics and transportation. Kingston Technical High, construction and infrastructure. Dunoon Technical High, telecommunication, cable and media. Vere Technical High, agriculture and engineering. Herbert Morrison Technical High, ICT and business process outsourcing. Manchester High, ICT and agro-processing. Belmont Academy, a relatively new kid on the block down there in Westmoreland. They are being oriented in respect of ICT and business process outsourcing. And as I would have highlighted earlier, the Sidney Pagan High School, agriculture and agro-processing. So there is ongoing engagement of industry partners with the aim of providing support for the initiative to include financial support. In this regard, a STEM symposium is planned for the first quarter of 2019. Committees have been established and are working to ensure that the objectives are achieved. The integration of the STEM methodology into the curriculum for grades 1 to 9 has been completed under the National Standards Curriculum, which, by the way, Mr. Peru, though we're not dealing PEP this morning, it is the National Standards Curriculum, which focuses on communication, collaborative effort, creative thinking, that PEP is predicated on. And then the 8th point, finalization of the core subjects for grades 7 to 9 at a STEM academy has been completed and was ratified by the STEM Steering Committee. Partnerships have been built with a team from the University of Technology led by Dr. Shermaine Barrett. This engagement has been very productive, and they are willing to partner with us to offer training for selected schools in order for those schools to further build their capacity. Now, there were also plans to foster partnership with other tertiary institutions, such as our hosts this morning, the University of the West Indies here at Mona, our various teachers' colleges, the Mandeville-based Northern Caribbean University, as well as the Heart Trust NTA. So in comparison to other regions or countries, we have some distance to travel, yes, to become more of a center for, or to become more centers, as it were, for innovation and technology. But we can safely say, at least here in Jamaica, the groundwork is being laid, and if we persist, and if we remain concerted, focused, we too should see the desired changes in our economies. A key component in facilitating a knowledge-based economy is investing in human capital, and that means the continuous improvement of our education system. The current administration has invested more heavily in education over the past 2 years and has been seen in Jamaica over recent years. By way of covering many of the operational and recurring costs, we have enabled school administrators to be more focused and targeted in their education programs, including in the STEM subjects. And as I wind down with a couple paragraphs to go, I want to make an important point, and a point that you as stakeholders, indeed as delegates to the conference and as members of the Caribbean Academy of Sciences should help to carry. An affirmation of STEM ought not to be construed or seen as somehow a relegation of the humanities or a renunciation of the importance of the humanities. I'm going to say it again because early this year, the ministry would have staged a higher education summit at the Jamaica Pegasus, and this was amongst the concerns that came up. And indeed, at various consultative or in various consultative fora, you would see this particular concern coming up. What does this whole emphasis being placed on STEM? What will it mean for the humanities? You know, the arts are important. It speaks to people's sensibilities and how we relate to each other and all of that. And as a ministry, it behooves us to assure our stakeholders, indeed assure the population, that an emphasis and a strategic focus on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in no way compromises the humanities and interest in those areas and in pursuing higher education in that field or in those fields. The truth of the matter is, the two are not mutually exclusive. The long and short of it is that organically, you're always going to have persons whose academic pursuits turn on not just their own aptitude, but their own interests. And so we will always have the proteges of a Professor Vereen Shepherd, a Rex Nettleford, a Hilary Beckles even, as Vice Chancellor, among us. Persons who are seeking to, pursue training and research in the arts, in the humanities. So, as a ministry, we are inviting your own, effort and reassurance in settling the unease. And in my own view, the misconception amongst persons that all this talk about STEM and seeking to facilitate persons who are pursuing higher education in these areas by way of such policies and initiatives as reduced interest rates in respect of students' loans and so on. Those concerns are at best unwarranted. Yeah? And we invite and solicit your advocacy in that regard. 1,000 flowers shall bloom, eh? We must continue to harness knowledge and break new ground on the innovation front. Only by remaining adaptable and open to change will we continue to stay relevant in the years ahead. It would be remiss of me not to recognize and appreciate that your conference is also looking at the behavioral sciences and how studies in related areas can better guide policy initiatives. And I believe my colleague, her own remarks this morning would have underscored precisely that. So we welcome all such studies, and nothing we do is done in a vacuum or in isolation. I want to congratulate the organizers for coordinating and putting on this conference, and certainly the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information looks forward to receiving proposals and or recommendations that may flow from this week's deliberations and your exchanges. On this note, I thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for having me, and wish for you a fruitful conference, and if I may declare the conference open. Thank you.
ladies and gentlemen, it remains for me to thank you all for attending this morning's opening ceremony. I'm sure you'd want me to especially thank our speakers on the podium. Each of them brought a very distinct perspective, and I think they've helped us frame this conference quite well. So I want to thank them for taking the time to prepare their remarks and making the effort to come out this morning. I'd also like to thank the sponsors. Professor Dasgupta began already, but let me take this opportunity to name the sponsors whose partnership, I'm sure you can appreciate, is extremely important for this conference to go off well. So first, I'd like to acknowledge Conrad Douglas and Associates and Environmental Science and Technology Limited. This firm is an environmental management and process engineering consulting firm established in 1985. It employs scientists and engineers with expert knowledge in tourism, housing, mining, process, chemical, energy, infrastructure, agricultural, and industrial sectors. It is the most experienced environmental management firm in Jamaica and the English-speaking Caribbean. Conrad Douglas and Associates subsidiary Environmental Science and Technology Limited has an exhaustive database on Jamaica's environment. They've conducted extensive baseline studies, water quality assessments, noise modeling, atmospheric pollution modeling studies, and due diligence audits. They are a platinum sponsor, and we thank them for their support. We also would like to thank New Fortress Energy. Those of us in Jamaica have been hearing a lot about New Fortress in the last couple of months. They're a global energy infrastructure company founded to help accelerate the world's transition to clean energy. The company funds, builds, and operates natural gas infrastructure and logistics to deliver fast-track turnkey energy solutions that enable economic growth, environmental stewardship, and transform local industries and communities. New Fortress Energy is managed by an affiliate of the Fortress Investment Group, a highly diversified global investment manager with $41 billion worth of assets under management as of June this year. Co-founded by New Fortress Energy founder Wes Edens in 1998, Fortress Investment Group has a long history of owning and operating energy, transportation, and infrastructure assets around the world, and now in Jamaica. Let us thank them. UNESCO. So the United Nations Organization for Education, Science, and Culture was founded on the 16th of November, 1945. Their aim is to contribute to the building of peace, the eradication of poverty, sustainable development, and intercultural dialogue through education, the sciences, culture, communication, and information. Other priorities of the organization include attaining quality education for all and lifelong learning, addressing emerging social and ethical challenges, fostering cultural diversity, a culture of peace, and building inclusive knowledge societies through information and communication. We thank not only Director Grigsby for being here, but also we would like to thank the various branches of UNESCO for their support for the Forum on Gender Disparity. So let us thank UNESCO, ladies and gentlemen. Sterling Asset Management Limited. Sterling Asset Management Limited is a licensed securities dealer registered with the Financial Services Commission in Jamaica. The company is a full-service financial planner, fund manager, and global securities trader specializing in US dollar investments. With over $33 billion in assets under management, Sterling has maintained one of the highest return on equity measures in the industry over the past 17 years and maintains 3 times the required regulatory benchmark for capital adequacy, making it one of the soundest financial institutions in the world. Thank you to Sterling Asset Management Limited. Grace Kennedy. Grace Kennedy is one of the Caribbean's largest and most dynamic food and finance corporate entities. It started in Jamaica in 1922 and now comprises companies in the Caribbean, North and Central America, the United Kingdom, and Africa. Their mission is to take the taste of Caribbean and other Caribbean foods to the world and world-class financial services to our region. Their vision is to be a global consumer group delivering long-term consumer and shareholder value through brand building and innovative solutions in food and financial services provided by highly skilled and motivated people. And I'd like to add, many of them graduates of our own universities. Let us thank Grace Kennedy. JamLab, the Jamaica Laboratory and Industrial Suppliers Limited, has been in Jamaica for over 33 years. They're a leading distributor of chemicals and scientific equipment for research and analysis in the industrial, medical, and educational sectors. Their products include laboratory supplies, scientific equipment, and consumables. The JamLab board has 5 directors with combined training and experience in science, sales and marketing, human resource development, and science education. Their mission is to be the leading supplier of laboratory products in the Caribbean by providing the highest level of customer satisfaction. I just thank JamLab. And final sponsor is J. Ray and Nephew Limited. J. Ray and Nephew Limited is a subsidiary of the Campari Group, a major player in the global branded beverage industry with a portfolio of over 50 premium and super premium brands marketed and distributed in over 190 countries worldwide. The company owns 3 sugar estates, which are Appleton Estate, Holland Estate, and New Yarmouth Estate, which account for approximately 63% of all spirits produced in Jamaica. Established in 1825, J. Ray and Nephew Limited is the oldest company in Jamaica and one of the largest exporters in the Caribbean, with its products going to over 60 countries around the world. The company has Jamaica's largest wine and spirits portfolio, comprising a number of owned and represented brands, including the iconic Ray and Nephew White Overproof Rum and Appleton Estate Jamaica Rum. Ladies and gentlemen, let us thank J. Ray and Nephew. I'd also like to thank the SCR staff, who we will rely on for the rest of the conference to ensure all the technical things go well and that we're well accommodated here. I think the ceremony this morning has gone off without any technical hitches, thanks to their work, so we thank them. As you can imagine, there are many volunteers who were involved in making this happen, and we really want to thank them for the work that they've done so far and that they will continue to do. Volunteers. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking the time to come out this morning, and thank you for the time that you will put in for the next couple of days to dialogue and to see how we can lift our region through science, technology, and innovation. Enjoy the rest of the proceedings.